Welcome to the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. This episode is brought to you by Authors Unite. Authors Unite provides you with all the resources you need to become a successful author. You can learn more about Authors Unite and join the free community at authorsunite.com. Now, let's jump into the episode. All right, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Business Blast podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Wagner. Today I have Justin Womack with us. He's an online marketer, copywriter, and business coach. So welcome to the show, Justin.
Thank you, Tyler.
Of course. Thanks for joining us. We'll dive in. The first question I have for you, Justin, is what is the best story from your life that has an underlying valuable message?
Great question. This is kind of crazy way to kind of start your show, but a few years back, actually in 2014, I was in a major car accident where I was in the ICU for 2 months, and I was left on a recovery path that took me a year before I was even able to walk again, and much longer than that to really get my full faculties back. So the message is this: life is short. Do what you love. And act quickly, act now, because if you're waiting for life to kind of present perfect opportunities, they never really come. Mm-hmm. So just a quick point, since that accident, I have started my own business. I've gotten married, and I'm about a week away from becoming a father. So that's pretty cool.
Wow, man. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And the next question I have for you is, what is the most valuable piece of information we should know that is within your expertise or industry?
I would say that it kind of goes into line with what I say about copywriting. And in copywriting, we have a saying that says, you seduce the heart with emotion, and then you convince the head with logic. So I think that's a really strong piece of advice for any business, because whether you're writing copy or you're speaking from the stage, it all kind of has the same influence tactics.
And what's your best piece of overall business advice? So not necessarily industry specific.
Persistence. When I went out on my own, things started slow, but I kept doing the right daily actions over and over. And it's kind of like if you're going to the gym or something like that. If you do the right actions every single day, eventually the results start compounding and actually show up in your life. So business is the same way. If you're not doing the work, don't expect a year from now to wake up with anything different than you have right now.
And if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that be?
It would be to not put as much emphasis into the public education system. I think I was too good of a student back then, and I think the public education system is more bred to breed employees rather than entrepreneurs. So I would have told myself to read more business books, consume more alternative education, start my own business a lot younger than I did, instead of going into corporate America to begin with. So ideally, I would have probably started my business at like 15, 16 years old if I knew that I could and I knew it was possible.
And in your opinion, what is the key to happiness?
Time freedom and patience. So for me, I used to work in corporate America. I have to have some control over my schedule to be happy. And I use this example, like when I used to work my old job, it's like if I ever wanted to get an oil change, I had to go plan something, or I had to find a place that was open on Saturdays, because I could never get out of the office between the hours of 8 and 6 p.m., if not longer than that. So, I need to be able to do what I want to do when I want to do it. And then patience also. If we're not able to exercise patience, I think that can create anger, frustration, certain emotions that don't serve us moving forward.
And what's the best book that you've read, and what was the number one thing you learned from that?
This was a tough one for me. I would say Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson, the long biography on the life of Steve Jobs. And a few of the key lessons I took from it are just be willing to dream bigger and much bigger than people will people will try to bring you down to their level. And if you just dream huge, sometimes you can make incredible things happen. And then the other thing was Steve Jobs was a man that focused on the consumer really well, and he focused on making things simple. Like, he took the computer industry to the everyday consumer, which was something that should have been done a long time ago, but he was the one with the foresight to see it. So those are my two takeaways.
And what is your favorite quote and why?
Favorite quote? if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you've always got. I really love that quote. I'm not even sure. I actually looked it up before this interview to see who actually originally said it, and it's credited to a bunch of different people. They don't know exactly who even originally said it, but it's a great quote. I think it speaks volumes that if you're not willing to get uncomfortable, you're going to produce stagnancy and you're not going to be able to go forward in life or in your business.
Thank you so much for coming on, man. The last question I have for you before we let you go is, where's the best place for people to find you online?
They can find me online on my website. So you can go to, it's coachingbizmastery.com. So it's coaching, B-I-Z, like zebra, mastery.com. I also have a LinkedIn digital course. So they can go to linkedinmasterycourse.com. So those are the two places they can connect with me online, or they can find me on LinkedIn too.
Perfect. Thanks again for coming on, man. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Tyler.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.